welcome back. Your dreams were yours.
Alright, today I wanted to talk about the 50th anniversary of Welcome Back Kotter, and I'll show you my binder. You've seen that many times before, but I always like to make these videos in case anybody has other information or input. When I went to check eBay, I could not find any Welcome Back Kotter buybacks except for one that was $20. That's usually about $10 more than I would like to spend, maybe $15 more. I like to be in that $5 to $8 range there. Then I went to look at WorthPoint, which is a data collection site that collects auction house records and mostly eBay, and I typed in Welcome Back Kotter buybacks and I found nothing. That doesn't mean they're not there. It just means that I didn't type in the right thing, or they didn't think I typed in the right thing. Then I went to COMC, and I think I can't remember if there was 0 there or 1 there, but there were 5 to 7 that had disappeared, and one of them was mine, and they have the American Pie buybacks from a lot longer ago. Those are hitting like the $50+ benchmark because I think they're all numbered to something, and there might be different editions of that particular set, maybe not the exact same card. The newer ones that have the gold Topps foil logo on it, that does not seem to have any kind of indication if they had duplicates or if they made the entire set. Somebody had gone out to basically set build one of these, and I think Welcome Back Kotter was one of them, and I found one on COMC for $7 or something, and I bought that when it was on sale on Black Friday or something like that. So that's the one I have. So this binder will go through the reasoning why I'm done with this set, but why I'm not done with this set. I always like to add vintage, stuff to my binder. So there's a vintage photograph of the gang right there, the majority of them. And then there's nothing back here, so there's room for another photograph, or some sort of, John Sebastian autograph to go there, or heck, even a wrapper. I thought I had a wrapper. I'm never going to get the box. I don't know how to display boxes. I guess I have to get those wax box, plastic holders, and I don't have room for those. But there is page number 1 with the very basic red border there. I think Topps use that for some other sets that may or may not be produced or test sets, so we don't worry about that too much there. But there's something that I'm kind of collecting as a side project here, and I've made notes that these are 2-star variants. So most of my set are all 1 stars on the back of it in the printing line there. And if anybody knows what they are, I couldn't remember if they were 2 different printing machines or different print runs, or they're going to different regions of the United States. Really don't remember any of that whatsoever, and because I used to know kind of what that was and the ideas behind that, and they said it was just some sort of code that Topps is using, but I like to would know what that was, and how many may have been printed of this one and that one. So, again, it's a slightly different variation. They're actually a little bit better than the ridiculous Donruss variants of the 1990s with the commas versus the periods and all kinds of tops with like the kind of pictures that have the UV lighting or something. You take the UV to, and then you can see weird things in the cards. This so much easier to 1, 2, and I think Charlie's Angels might even have a 3-star variant. But I got the entire set, and it's really easy to do because there's plenty of people trying to bilk you out of $50 for the set. So that's essentially $1 a card, but you can get it for closer to $20. Sometimes you can get it under $20 if somebody's doing an auction that doesn't hit its mark there. So you can do very well. And then you can choose to basically replace the cards with better centered ones. A lot of these cards are really well centered, as far as centering goes for the 70s. Some of them got really far off, but I haven't seen too many of those, where there's no red border off to the side. As I say that, I might find some that are terrible. So again, the chances you can get a good one graded if you just buy crazy lots of that. And then we have, of course, some OPC cards here with a slightly different back. The thing I liked about OPC is that you can actually read the cards. With the Topps cards, they were super, super hard to read. And then I have about 3 or 4 of the variant cards, the star variants, meaning that I bought a set, and then a couple of these are duplicates. See, this one has no red border there, virtually none. So that's one of the few that's way, way off kilter there. There's another variant card. These go up to card number 53, if you can see that there. And then the OPG ones are locked into Canada mostly, so that unfortunately the shipping has got ridiculous. This is a number a couple years ago that I said, you know what, maybe not even 2 years ago, but it was just so unaffordable. One seller was, you know, per card or something, so I could average 11 cards and X amount of shipping. And I said, well, that works out to the current COMC shipping, so I'm happy. So I would get my OPG, sometimes realizing that they gave me Topps and OPG, and they never would correct the listings. I said, you better tell your sellers that these are Topps cards and not OPG, or OPG and not Topps. Very frustrating. So, and again, sometimes I ended up with the wrong cards, but I was able to make, you know, choices to where I said, you know what, I'm going to collect the whole Happy Days OPG and the Topps, and I'm going to collect the OPG and Welcome Back Kotter. On eBay, these things are about $1.29 to $1.59 or so, free shipping in some cases, and some of the sellers are doing 20% off. So I can choose, and the nice sellers are the ones that show the backs. Don't buy from the sellers that don't show the backs if you want to collect variations. Again, there's only A and B. That's a different thing. Only star sets for the star 1 and star 2, and they're in the, like, the little tagline down here. It's hard to see. You will not be able to see that. I might do a zoom up at the end of the video and just show you the two different variations of that if you don't know. Again, it's something interesting a lot of people don't know about, but I want to know about it. And then what's even more frustrating here is we go to this particular card here. This one right at the top here, you won't be able to see all of it because the binder's a little taller here. And this is actually a reproduction card from Topps. It looks like a buyback card with a little Topps vintage logo on here up here, which you can't see. There is my buyback card right there with the gold foiled stamp logo there. This is a silver one for the 75th anniversary set. One of my YouTube friends said want to do a set together, and then he left YouTube. So I couldn't. I had just spent a bunch of money. I couldn't get involved in that set, but it was a really cool one to work on. I said, nah, I just can't at this moment. And then that was his journey to YouTube was ended, and mine was just, you know, kept on going, but I was not going that set. And then I waited too long, and then everybody started charging crazy amounts for certain cards in that set, and, you know, calling them rookie cards of each different celebrity, and that ship is greatly, massively sailed. You know, so that is my only buyback of there. Again, I don't know how many of those are made, and they're not serial numbered. And then, but what I was saying about this particular set, I think there's also a rainbow foil card number to this one. There is also, if I go to COMC, if I can get to it right now, there's also a, if I get to it here, there is also a wax pack card here. So pretty warm in here. That one was sold out. That's an entertainment pie buyback with a different logo, and I may not be able to show that to you. So tiny there. It's really hard to see, but there's a gold foil logo there talking or mentioning what that is. And I don't know if those were serial numbered or not. Some of them were and some of them were not. I don't remember the whole story there. But if we want to go back and you just go to Welcome Back Kotter, and then you want to go to the newest first to see what the newest examples of these things are. And there are, let's see if I can go to lowest price, we can go to newest. And there was, or let's see, newest, there we go. And I'll just show you that there's a special card here, but see, I have to go to the completed listings to show you what's missing here. There's some sort of TV guide card that has nothing to do with any of the set here, and these are just the base set cards. There's supposedly some John Travolta's. I don't know enough about John Travolta autograph to know which ones are real or fake. There's a current one on for sale. It's only 99 cents, and I don't want to mess with that because it could be auto pin, it could be secretarial, but this is what was sold out for 220. It was numbered at 220. So this is the Welcome Back Kotter pack wrapper card here from the I guess it's from the 80th set there. So not the 75th, the 80th. And these were numbered. Let's see where they numbered. They're numbered at 220, but I don't know if the serial number is on the front of the card. No, but I guess technically they were limited to 220, I think it's what it is, and they do not have any serial numbering on it. It's one of those things where Topps decided to get lazy, you know, because I would like to know if it was number 220 of 220 or 1 of 220 or whatever. If there was some kind of, you know, number that made sense, like 76 of 220, that would be 1976. So anyway, that's pretty interesting there. And again, they're running a marathon of Welcome Back Kotter on one of the channels today, and I caught a few episodes there. You know, I cannot mention that guy's name that's in it, Juan E, because it's synonymous with another guy that's It's very similar to another person that's in the news every other day. So I'll just call him 1E. And I don't know how many of the actors have since passed away. A good bunch of them have passed away. I think Gabe Kaplan is still alive and John Travolta is still alive. But it's interesting that there's probably only like a 10 or 12 difference between Travolta and the teacher. But that's because, you know, Travolta in real life. But I mean, I guess the teacher came back to the school. It's a different thing. It's a different time. All of them were way into adulthood, so they could really only do a few, you know, seasons of Welcome Back Kotter before it got even more ridiculous looking. Then we wanted to go to eBay here and just show you a couple of listings here, and we'll be just about done here. This is just one of the cards here, and I can look at this one because it's a beautiful scan of this particular card here, and I can see this is what we're talking about here. The 2 stars down here, that'll be either 1 or 2 stars here. And so I'm happy if I have any kind of card that represents that particular example. Again, I don't know if 1 star is better, if that's a first print run, and then the 2 stars, or maybe they were all mixed up in the same packet. Again, it's been so long that I haven't been able to open up any kind of old Topps pack to figure out what's going on. But if you look at baseball cards from the 90s, and the 80s, and you look at baseball cards from before and before and before, any kind of Topps non-sport thing, and you'll see the different stars down there. And I think it's just a fun little Easter egg to kind of collect. Does it mean anything? No, but maybe one day it just might, you know, and then I want to be the one that has all the different cards that no one else seems to have thought to have collected. And I also went to the Jeff Allender's House of Checklists, and it doesn't say anything about the set. It really just says there's only 53 cards, and they thank some guy for the information that he added to the set, but I couldn't find anything else, you know. Maybe a picture of the wrapper, but nothing else. It didn't say anything about star variants, didn't say anything about the OPC, you know, set there. And it certainly didn't talk about any kind of newer cards to the addition there. So again, it just finding information about cards that have different, you know, error cards and sort of thing. I think I can't remember if it was a Welcome Back Kotter, but there was one card that was Topps, and different cards actually got overlaid on it. It was like a football card that had a non-sport on the back or something. Very, very unusual, bizarre card. So I'm not talking about Topps. Topps a special, like their vault cards they had. Now there's a new Topps vault, or newer Topps vault, but the old days Topps vault was selling off their old materials that were used to make the cards. So I have 2 cards in the Welcome Back Kotter set, but they can't be part of my binder because they're encapsulated in larger thick holders there that Topps provided, and they have a seal stuck on it that says Topps Vault, and they're just vault blank back proofs. Now, were those blank back proofs printed in the 70s? More than likely. What they were used for and why they were in storage this whole time, you know, but that was just kind of an interesting little side note there. You can find cards that were used to make the cards, or test examples of cards, and some of those are hundreds of dollars. I was only like in the tens of dollars for some of those back in the day. Very happy to get those. So that's all I know, and all I don't know about Welcome Back Kotter. A little more involved in the previous set builds, but I'm just doing kind of a reload here because I'm kind of looking at, I know I told somebody I was looking at a couple of cards here, 2 whole cards, but you see this gets me all interested. But if you're building a secondary set for certain types of cards, you're going to have to build it 1 by 1 by 1. And then when you amortize all the seal, say shipping, it might be cheaper to do it this way, but this way you'll still be at least a minimum of $1 a card, so it'll be $53 into a set, and nobody's paid $53 for a set. And to verify if there's star variants for every single card, that I don't know. There could be only 3 of the 2 star, 33 of the 2 stars, and 15 of the, you know, whatever. So I don't really know exactly how many star variants and how of each. You know, it's very kind of up in the air. Again, and do I want to collect like Happy Days? I want to collect, you know, the exact same card of several, you know. Do I want to collect, you know, the principal in the Rain Slicker? Or collect this one here, the Musketeers. This is a good one here, but it's very off-centered. But again, that was a 70s, a very off-centered decade there. And you really don't need to basically go out and find perfect borders. people who look for perfect borders are basically searching for some other kind of ridiculous, tier that most people can't handle there. Trying to zoom in on this one here, but that's a good card there. And with little cartoon bubbles on there. I don't have any Welcome Back Kotter comic books or anything, so I don't really want to start going that particular route. Looks like there's a scratch. Maybe hopefully it's just something that got on the scan there, but kind of fun to kind of look around and see that you can kind of expand a set that you've already owned, and then when you can show people, you can tell people all the different variants and examples of that particular set there. So pretty much I ran the gamut of every different type of card that you can think of. If these buyback collectors can point me in the right direction, or somebody else can point me, that would be helpful, and thank you for watching.